Hey guys, Hayward Hal Crawford here, back with another IMDb filmmaker commentary. It's great to have you guys here. I'm gonna just be going through a lot of different random movies. So you're gonna get a lot of different random things, and yeah, we're just kind of chopping it up on this Thursday afternoon. That is. So first thing I want to bring to you guys is let's see here. All right, so here we have Identity. So those guys that might be in the mystery thriller, psychological kind of who done it. This movie came out back in 2003 by what's his name, James Mangold. James Mangold. So basically, James Mangold, his story is those of you guys know he went on to do Logan. He went to do a few different projects. So we're kind of just going to go into the nitty gritty of this one. So let me go ahead and I got one side over here. All right, cool. Uh, yeah. So Identity. This has a 7.3 on IMDb. 7.3. All right. Came out 2003, like I mentioned. I remember seeing the trailer maybe like in the early, maybe late 2002. I think it's came out like April '03. So it's like, it kind of just takes me back. Let me see here. All right. So, what's the plot? Stranded at a desolate Nevada motel during a rainstorm, 10 strangers become acquainted with each other as they realize they're being killed off one by one. So, very generic kind of plot when you first think about it. I remember watching the trailer and kind of going like, "Oh, that's kind of weird." Kind of thought it was like some sort of like sequel to Psycho. Like, oh, maybe they stumbled upon the old Bates Motel and then the ghost of Norman Bates or his mother are kind of out to get them. It kind of had that like uh Bates Motel quality. Let's see here. James Mangold. So once again, James Mangold directed this. Currently, you can watch it on Pluto. I'll try not to spoil too much. If you feel like this is a movie that's your vibe, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. This movie came out over 20 years ago. So stop watching this live stream and go watch the movie if you're like, into thriller. So James Mangold, who's he? All right, so yeah. So I know he directed Logan. He directed Girl Interrupted. I forgot about that big movie with Winona Ryder, Angelina Jolie back in the day. That was kind of Angelina Jolie's big break, even though it was kind of supposed to be marketed as Winona Ryder's movie. Angelina Jolie kind of came in there, stole the show. I think Angelina Jolie got an Oscar nod or won the Oscar. And I think, for a few years there was some animosity between those two because when I was like, this was my movie, this was my big comeback movie. He also did Walk the Line. I still haven't gotten around to seeing that. 310 of Yuma, I got that on DVD. I just started watching maybe the first 30 minutes about 3 months ago. And then I didn't get around to it. Oh, I didn't know he did the Wolverine too. Okay, I did not know that. The Wolverine didn't hear a lot of great things about the Wolverine. And it just was kind of like, I was never really into the Wolverine standalone movies, to be honest with you. I think there was one, yeah, Wolverine Origins of '09. I think I saw part of that, didn't like that. Uh, and then Wolverine, that one was actually with Deadpool, funny enough. And Logan. Now, Logan was the shit. I did watch the Logan. All right, so that's a little bit about James Mangold. So this was maybe, he did this between Girl Interrupted in '99 and Walk the Line in '05. All right, so who's the starring? Cusack. Those guys know like Brat Pack '80s kind of teen star. Ray Liotta, great Ray Liotta, rest in peace, R.I.P. And then we have who else we got? Yeah, and then we have Amanda Peet. So Amanda Peet was kind of like, I would say she always was sort of that sort of underrated actress. You see her around and stuff. Like played a great kind of like character part. You know, um, I would say yeah, like a character. Um, yeah, like character actress. She did some good stuff. So there's that. Trailer's really good. Maybe we could watch the trailer real quick. Yeah, well, why not? Let's do it. Trailer was a classic. I don't know if you guys can hear it. All right. Okay. So yeah, that is identity, y'all. Let's see here. All right, cool. So what's cool about this is the fact that okay, now I get all right. I'll just let that play in the background, mute it out. So I would say this is a really great collection. This movie has a great, I would just like to call it like a twist. It is a twist, but at the same time, like it plays off of great characters, like the environment, um, just so much going on, like as far as like just the environment, the claustrophobicness of this motel. Like I said, it has kind of Bait Motel vibes, like Bates Motel vibes. Um, so I really enjoyed it. So let's get into some of the photos here. Um, Once again, IMDb isn't paying me, but it would be nice to maybe get them on the team eventually. So very great atmosphere. That's Rebecca De Mornay, one of the characters. Um, yeah, I've got to look up who the cinematographer was, but a lot of great character actor stars, production design. Got I think Jake Bussey, that's Gary Busey's son. So I just remember it just having like just such a great look that kind of brings you an environment. Clea Duvall from probably Faculty is probably my favorite movie from her. She was also in Ghost of Mars. She's done a lot of kind of horror stuff. John McGinley, my guy from Set It Off, Scrubs, you know, throwing it down. Uh, yeah, so yeah, this movie definitely has like a great kind of like I don't want to put it on the same level as Seven. That's saying a lot. Um, Seven, David Fincher, but it's pretty up there as far as this environment, this atmosphere, the linger, the gloom of this motel. The last place you want to be stuck out in a storm is at this rinky dink motel. So I think it's great the way, like, with these photos on IMDb, you kind of go through, if you're really into the movie, you can kind of get a vibe for it. Doesn't spoil nothing. All right, James Mangold there, I think looking a lot younger back then, 20 years ago. And I remember watching like I think there was this old I think growing up, like, sometimes in my family we have like cable here and there, may have HBO one season, may have Stars the next. I remember they did like some stars like one on one, like Hollywood one on ones. This is like the early 2000s. And I remember this back then where you didn't have YouTube, you didn't really know what was going on except you were on TV. So I remember stars had this little special edition Hollywood one on one. They interview everybody, and it turns out I think that entire motel was a soundstage. They built this whole motel and the whole property in this giant soundstage, and they probably had about an acre or two of just sprinklers. Now we got the little, now we got the movie premiere photos when you see that. Um, but yeah, it just kind of goes shows the scope of like these movies, how a lot of times they look like they could have been outside, like they could have been here, but they really weren't. Um, so yeah, I just like it's probably my first time, even though I've seen this movie multiple times over the last 20 years. I've never actually gone through all these still photos because they just capture a lot of these moments. And I used to think growing up, like looking at these still photos, like, oh, I guess they just took screenshots at the time. Like, no, there was literally a photographer on set, and literally they would either take photos while the scene's being shot, or they'll take photos like after the director yells cut, like in between takes. So it's cool to kind of capture a lot of those. Oh, that's my girl Julie Benz from Dexter. All right. 5 years later, she was in Dexter. I've got my girl, I forgot her name, Donald Faison's uh, spouse and Scrubs. You got some Scrubs and Dexter connects. Yeah, I remember, just the posters, pretty cool. Let's see here. Yeah, so I just have an appreciation. I know most people are like, you movie nerd. What do you care? Why are you showing us this? Hey, I got appreciation for the art. It's a nice art form here. Um, so all right, so that's the photos. Let's see most of them. Oh, I didn't need to see that. Yeah, the motel. Obviously, that's a CGI shot. Great shot of John Hawkes right here. You know, just if you need the creepy atmospheric vibe of like a creepy motel during a rainstorm, like this movie's it. And then it has like a whodunit murder mystery attached to it. People keep dropping one by one. Amanda Peet, which I think she's very, very underrated. I think she's married to DB Weinoff, the guy, one of the guys who's a creator of Game of Thrones. Um, yeah, she's married to him, and I think she's actually what put Pedro Pascal up on Game of Thrones because she was friends with Pedro Pascal. She was able to pass his audition or his headshot or whatever it is on to her husband, who was show running Game of Thrones. There's a little Game of Thrones connection there. If you guys like Pedro Pascal, his stint in Game of Thrones season 4, you got Amanda Peet to thank. She put him, she connected him with her husband. I think DB Weinoff, the other guy. John Cusack. To be honest with you, growing up, I didn't really know about his whole '80s like sort of career. Uh, I just sort of actually got probably put on to him from this movie, and then maybe a movie he did right before that. So yeah, this movie is just fantastic. Like, and I'm not gonna spoil none, but that scene was a vibe. Uh, Alfred Molina, Dr. Ock. Obviously, he's done a lot of stuff. Uh, very accoladed work. Um, so yeah, that's the photos. So let's get back into it. Let's get into some trivia. Let's see here. Right back. All right, what else we got? Okay, those are the photos. Well, once again, the cast we got John Cusack, Ray Liotta. Once again, rest in peace, flowers to the great late Ray Liotta, Goodfellas. Of he's done all types of stuff. I know there's a lot more movies that he has done. But I mean, Goodfellas. What else can you say about the movie? John Hawkes, like I mentioned, big fan of his from The Perfect Storm. Done a lot of great character work over the years. I think he ended up. Forgot if he won an Oscar. He got nominated. He did a movie with Helen Hunt called The Sessions. I think he was playing like a disabled person. John McGinley, like I mentioned from Scrubs, set it off. William Lee Scott, Bullethead from the Steve Harvey Show. You know, I remember seeing him in theater, like, oh, yeah, you know. So you never know who's gonna pop up in a movie somewhere. Then Rebecca De Mornay, once again, I didn't know about me watching this in the early 2000s. I didn't know about her whole stint, kind of like teen, teen heartthrob in the 80s. You know, Risky Business with Tom Cruise. I didn't know anything about that. You know, I just saw her in this movie. I think my uncle pointed me out, like, oh, that's Rebecca. That's my girl Rebecca De Mornay. You know, yeah, I think that's the guy from Frasier, maybe. All right, cool. So once again, the storyline. I'm not about to read all that. You guys can. But like I mentioned, very fun whodunit murder mystery. Let me get into some trivia. So once again, this is the spoilers. Warning, spoilers. So if you like what you've seen so far, and you like, hey, I'm gonna go check out this movie, leave the live stream now. We're about to get into trivia and goofs. So these are gonna be spoilers. So ideally, anyone that's already seen the movie, remembers the movie, likes the movie, wants to dive in with me on the trivia and goofs, feel free. But if you haven't seen the movie, you think you want to see it, you don't want the spoilers, turn away now. Turn away now. All right. Okay. All right. So let's get into some trivia. So this was like a really creepy thing. I remember like the little poem uh, that they reference at the beginning of the movie, and then they reference it later, right before the big sort of reveal. When I was going up the stairs, I met a man who wasn't there. He wasn't there again today. I wish you go away. One character claims to have written this poem. It is really a poem titled An Antigonish by William Hughes Mearns. The poem was also turned into a popular song, giving it widespread attention. All right. So, other trivia goofs, spoilers. All right. The prisoner is described as carrying an axis uh, dissociative disorder. In psychiatric diagnosis, psychiatric disorders fall under Axis 1. Personality disorders, and mental retardation fall under Axis 2. Medical disorders fall under Axis 3. A general summary of the social stressors, e.g., health problems, money problems, family problems, and rated none, mild, moderate, or severe. Fall under Axis 4, and the patient's global assessment of function score falls under Axis 4, dissociative disorder, and Axis 1 diagnosis. All right, well, okay, remember it's a movie, y'all. So I don't know what, kind of like with Wikipedia. Somebody goes in there and like, actually, I didn't like this part when you really should have. It's a movie. All right. We don't need like an entire accurate mental glossary diagnosis. I think that was a little bit much. Like I could still suspend my disbelief and not get triggered because I mispronounced the diagnosis in the movie. All right. But anyway. All right, let's get into trivia. All right. So once again, spoilers. Turn away now if you want to see the movie sometime. All right. Several endings were filmed in order to shroud the real conclusion in secrecy. Okay, I get it. I don't think like this movie obviously had some good stars in it, but I figure they were shooting this around late 2000, mid late 2002. I don't think there was a whole lot of hype around. Oh my god, they're gonna spoil the ending online. I think the movie did moderately well. I think it was maybe 3 or 4 at the box office that weekend. I don't think it had like the sort of like worldwide phenomenon of Scream. Because when Scream came out, I remember only being 8 or 9, 10 years old, and the level of like pandemonium, hype, you know, around that movie, and then the sequel, like Scream 2. Think about Scream 3, it kind of started to die down. I don't remember there being as much anticipation. I remember when they talked about Scream 3, I'm like, oh, it's been a few years already, really? But I remember like between Scream and then the announcement of a Scream 2, that year 97, like that is a level of like pandemonium, hype that you'll never see again. when it comes to like the collective of movie event going experience. So I get it. Like obviously they did that for for like a lot of movies should do that, but it's not like they had the level of screen of fandom of Scream where oh my god, there's people on set, there's people that might leak the ending. Like no one's really. I don't think anybody was paying attention to this when it was shooting. So all right, next trivia. Some location shooting occurred in Lancaster and other places in Los Angeles, but the majority of the movie was shot on an enormous soundstage at Sony Studios in Culver City, the same studio that housed a set for the Emerald City in The Wizard of Oz. So, like I said, I remember that from a little press interview they did like 20 years ago where it was a full inside set. So when you watch this movie and it's like they're like in a motel in the desert, it really does look like the desert. They do a great job, like all of that within a sound stage, and they have like one or two anchors worth of just sprinklers to simulate rain. Is yeah, that's the magic of movie going. This was Frederick Coffin's final acting role before his death on July 31st, 2003, at the age of 60. I don't recall who Frederick Coffin is. Let's see who that is. Frederick Coffin. Okay, he was one of the guys. Yeah, I remember he was one of the guys in the deposition scene with the serial killer brought to the table, and they're doing like a midnight hearing to determine if he's going to get executed, his death, if he's going to get if he's going to get executed, if you will, or if they're going to confine the serial killer in the hospital. So yeah, I do remember him. So rest in peace. Looks like he did some stuff with Steven Seagal, Wayne's World. Okay, all right, yeah. So he's been around other character actor. All right, that was nice of them. I guess they maybe did a little in memory of. The book scene in Ed's car as he picks up Paris is Being and Nothingness by Jean Paul Sartre. So I'm not familiar with that book. Honestly, I need to read more fiction or poetry. I kind of read more nonfiction, business, personal development books, um, or just stuff, yeah, or political stuff. The song the prisoner starts to sing as he is led into the bathroom is "I Got Stripes," a prison song by Johnny Cash, who died the year after the film's release. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, Gary Busey, the tall bucktooth uh, convict. Yeah, okay. I remember that song. I gotta look it up. Let me guys know. Are you guys any Johnny Cash fans here? Have you guys heard that song? I'm familiar with just some of Johnny Cash's, mainstream stuff, Hurt and his other kind of earlier hits. Um, all right. According to James Mangold, when shooting the film in studio using a heavy rain backdrop, a water system was used to simulate the cold rain. As a result of working on such a water-drenched set for long hours, it wasn't uncommon for the cast to become afflicted with common cold. Yep. So once again, they were in studio, had a heavy raindrop. Yeah. So that's common. That's kind of part of the job. Unfortunately, I think a lot of different movies. I think I remember old girl from Titanic, Kate Winslet, who got sick, and I think that was kind of a reason why she sort of went and worked with James Cameron again. I mean, that movie did sort of launch her career, but when you're under those certain conditions, you end up catching cold or getting sick. To each his own. Next one, John Cusack. Yep, and many people will go on to play the lead roles in 2012 and 2009, where they played a recently divorced couple. Also, Cusack plays drivers in both movies. Yeah, that's right. I know he was playing a. Yeah, he drove a limo in both of those movies. Funny enough, I do remember that. I do remember watching that movie. Like, oh yeah, those are meant two people from Identity. This is the second time composer Alvin Silvestri replaced a score by Angelo Badalamenti, the first being Shattered. And I think that sounds familiar. I think Alan Silvestri, didn't he do, I think he did the score for the Polar Express, something like that. Don't crowd me on it. Yeah, Polar, he did composing for Polar Express, Avengers Endgame. All right, so he was in the MCU. Forrest Gump. So yeah, he's up there with he's in that top five conversation with like a Hans Zimmer and John Williams. He's been around the block. So yeah, I know I remember the Polar Express one, Avengers Endgame. So yeah, good for him. All right, getting that money. Marshall Bell and John Cusack previously co-starred in Stand By Me as father and son. Oh, so yeah, so that must have been with John Cusack. Yeah, it was a preteen teenager. I knew John Cusack was kind of part of that Brat Pack adjacent, like 80s teen stars. I don't remember who Marshall Bell is. Um, Marshall Bell. Okay, him. Lord, man, what movie is that? You could just go down these IMDb rabbit holes. My man's just getting, just getting. I don't know if it's coming out of him or just Total Recall. Oh man, I've seen parts of that movie when I was younger. I gotta go watch that whole movie. Any Total Recall fans in here? Yeah, so I thought that was like a horror movie. Like, I know Total Recall is like sci-fi action, but all right, so that's who Marshall Bell is right there. All right. So what else we got? All right, spoilers. Spoilers, I warned you. Um, okay, we got when John Cusack shoots Rhodes at the end of the movie, you can see Rhodes, and warned you, spoilers. You can see Rhodes mouth the words, I didn't do this. And Ed replies, I know. Uh, Neither of these lines are audible. They were muted because the director felt it would make it obvious that Rhodes was not the killer, thus making the true climax less surprising. Oh, I didn't catch that. So when Ed shoots Rhodes at the end of the movie, you can see Rhodes mouth the words, I didn't do this. Ed replies, I know. Neither of these lines are audible. So now that makes me go like, then why do you kill him then? That kind of all right, that kind of messed me up. All right. The naked businessman, Paris lies, ties to the bed at the beginning. Um, is one of Malcolm's identities. He is also the agent Carolyn Suzanne is speaking on the phone. He was pinned as the first identity of the movie to die, but the scenes were shaved from the movie. Oh, okay. Yeah, know that. All right. I gotta wrap this up soon, y'all. Probably go another 10, 15 minutes. The killer, let's see here. The killer can be seen in Carol Suzanne's motel room window through a muslin drape in a reflection while she is standing in the mirror. Oh, I missed that. Oh man, I want to go back and watch that scene. A life-size dummy was created to depict the murdered character played by Jake Busey. The baseball bat lodged in his throat. One of the executives asked to keep the dummy as a souvenir and stored it in his office closet. One night, a cleaning woman opened the closet and was frightened out of her wits. The dummy was removed from the offices immediately after that incident. Oh man, that's crazy because it did look pretty real for that scene. Oh man, that poor lady. She's doing her job, cleaning on late night. She's at. All right, the odds of all 10 characters having the same birthday are approximately 1 to woo, thousands, 100,000, millions, billions, millions, billions, trillion. Okay, quadruple trillion. Wow. All right, some more trivia. Although Identity is not a direct remake, it's not a direct remake of the novel film, and then there were none, sometimes known as Little Ten Little Indians, written by Agatha Christie. The film takes several plot points from the story. The dialogue even references that movie where the 10 strangers went to an island and they all died one by one. Although the play and the film adaptations give a story a happy ending, Identity keeps the original novel's ending where the killer is revealed to be one of the victims who faked their death and no one survives the incident. Though by the novel's account, The killer commits suicide after convincing the last survivor to kill themselves as well. Wow, dark. I don't know. Read that book now. The complete names of characters in the motel are just once again all the characters named after the states. Um, the motel manager corpse that was hidden in the freezer is played by Stuart M. Besser, the executive producer and production manager for the movie. Ah, what a fun little cameo. That's fun figuring out like what crew members or producers kind of sneak their way in or bribe or coerce their daughter to be in the movie, you know. So there's always that. In the first draft, because their daughter's gonna be a star. Uh, just watch. Force them to be a star. All right. In the first draft, the killer was an expatriate female teacher from Australia. However, decided that a female teacher who was a serial killer may not have gone too well with parent groups. So that idea was dropped. Leela Kinzel was uh, would sometimes would sometimes be replaced with a dummy throughout shooting, such as after she died. Wait, so actress Leela Kinzel would sometimes be replaced with a dummy throughout shooting, such as just after she dies. Okay, I think she played John McGinley's wife. Yeah, it was hit by the car. Okay, gotcha. All right. Brett Lohr gets only one line of dialogue in the whole film, and even then, some of it's spoken first by Pruitt Taylor Vince. Body count 14. This does not count the girl Ed didn't save or the 6 people killed in the past. All right, Samuel Rhodes and Robert Maines. Prison's IDs share the same digits and the same number of occurrences for each. Two ones, 1 2, 2 7s, 2 3s, 1 8, 1 9, but arranged differently. Rhodes' ID is that. Wow, that is that. All right. And then finally, when Rhodes puts on his jacket and leaves the room, one can clearly see a small hole and blood stain on the back of his shirt. Later, after apprehending Maine, he beats him savagely, which is not what a cop would do, particularly in the presence of someone else. Yes, I remember seeing that reveal in the movie and going, like, oh, that's something off. There's some weird going on there. But that's the only thing he had to wear. All right, so all right, guys. So that is Identity, a little nerd movie, TV nerd breakdown. Once again, if you wanted to see the movie, I spoiled it, but I gave you plenty ample warnings. But still, watch it anyway, man. If you want to see it, if you're like into the whodunit murder mystery thriller, this was a good one. Still underrated. Very great twist at the end. I don't think I literally said what the twist was. But you definitely check it out. James Mangold, he did Logan, Walk the Line, Girl Interrupted. It's currently on Pluto. Pluto got some good stuff. You got to sit through a lot of ads, so you got to be ready for that. But other than that, 7.3 in IMDb. Over 20 years later, I think it still holds up. I think I may have watched it a couple years ago. And yeah, all right, guys. I will catch you guys next time. I'm currently going to be airing. Let me add this actually into the ticker right now. We're going to be airing on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Friday. Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So that's what's up. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays. I'm literally typing this into the banner. But that's when we'll be back. And I'll, once again, different movies, different TV shows. I'll have guest friends of mine, movie, TV junkies dropping in. We'll be chopping it up on different movies and TVs we love. And yeah, we will go from there. So thank you guys for joining IMDb Filmmaker Commentary. I'm your host, Hayward Hal Crawford, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.